You've been told your whole life to be quiet on the ice. But what if I told you that quiet is a complete illusion? What if every single step you take on that hard water sounds like a drum solo to a fish 60 feet away? Today, we're not talking about lures or electronics. We're talking about the one thing that can shut down a bite before you even get a line wet: noise. Specifically, the noise you make just by walking. And by the end of this, you'll understand why that guy who stomps around with his auger sometimes outfishes everyone, and why your stealthy approach might be completely wrong. We're going to uncover the reason your flasher might be showing fish that simply refuse to bite. It's not them, it's you. So, let me ask you right now, do you honestly believe a fish under 2 feet of ice and 3 feet of snow can hear you walking? Let me know in the comments before we even get started. For generations, the number one rule of ice fishing, passed down from father to son, has been to be quiet. Don't run, don't drop your scoop, don't drag your sled like you're in a race. And on the surface, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? In any other kind of hunting or fishing, stealth is key. We associate silence with not spooking our quarry. But here's the paradox of the frozen lake. We show up with gas-powered augers that scream like a dirt bike. We wear heavy boots that crunch and thump, and then suddenly, once the hole is drilled, we try to tiptoe around like we're in a library. It's a contradiction that most of us just accept without question. This video isn't about scolding you for being noisy. It's about understanding the unique physics of a frozen lake. We need to go beyond the old wisdom and look at what's actually happening to the world underneath our feet. Let's start by shattering an illusion. We picture the world under the ice as this silent, peaceful, muffled place, a winter wonderland of calm. But that couldn't be further from the truth. The underwater world is a symphony of vibrations and sounds. Fish live and die by their ability to interpret these vibrations. Their lateral line is an incredibly sensitive organ that picks up the faintest pressure changes, telling them where prey is, and more importantly, where predators are. Your presence on the ice above isn't a gentle visitor. It's an alien intrusion. And that solid sheet of ice you're standing on? It's not a soundproof barrier. It's actually a massive amplifier, a giant speaker cone aimed directly downwards, broadcasting your every move to the entire audience below. Every step is a performance, whether you like it or not. Now, to understand why this is happening, we have to talk about some simple physics. No, don't tune out. This is the good stuff. In the air, sound travels at about 767 miles per hour. But in water, it moves at over 3,300 miles per hour, more than 4 times faster. It's just a denser medium. So, when you add a solid layer of ice on top of that water, you create a very strange and efficient sound transmission system. The vibration from your boot hitting the ice doesn't just travel straight down, it propagates horizontally through the ice sheet itself, like a ripple in a pond, but way faster and way farther. It spreads out across this huge solid surface before sending that sound energy down into the water column over a massive area. You're not just making noise where you stand, you're making noise 60 feet away simultaneously. Here's an even better way to think about it. The ice on a lake acts like a giant drum, a really, really big one. Think about it. When a drummer hits a drum in one spot, the entire surface, the entire drumhead, vibrates. That's what creates the booming sound. The frozen surface of the lake is your drumhead. Every step you take is like hitting it with a mallet. Each time you set down your heavy gear bucket, you're hitting the drum. Each time you drag your heavy sled, you're creating a long, scraping vibration across the drum. You are not just making a sound in one place, you are sending out shock waves, powerful low-frequency vibrations, across the entire surface of this massive natural instrument. And these are precisely the kinds of vibrations that fish are most sensitive to. They feel it in their bones, or rather, through their lateral line. So, let's talk about the type of sound, because this is a crucial distinction. There are 2 main kinds of noise we make, high frequency and low frequency. Imagine you drop your metal pliers on the ice. That makes a sharp, high frequency clang. It's loud to our ears, and yes, the fish hear it. But high frequency sounds don't travel as far through solids and water. They dissipate pretty quickly. The real killer, the sound that truly terrifies fish, is the low frequency thump. This is the sound of your weight transferring into the ice with every step. It's the deep rumble of your auger drilling. It's the heavy, dragging sound of your sled. These low-frequency waves are like the bass from a car stereo. They penetrate everything, they travel much, much farther, and they signal one thing to a fish: something very large and very heavy is nearby. This brings us to the 20-meter spook zone. Or, for us here, let's call it the 65-foot circle of fear. Where does this number come from? It's not just something I pulled out of a hat. It comes from scientific studies using hydrophones, that's underwater microphones, to actually measure the impact of human activity on the ice. And 65 feet is actually a conservative estimate for a person of average weight walking on medium-thick ice. So I want you to picture this. The moment you step on the ice, imagine a circle around you with a diameter of 130 feet. That's almost half a football field. Any fish inside that massive circle is now on high alert. It knows you're there. It doesn't know what you are, but it knows something big is walking around on its ceiling, and that is never a good sign in the natural world. So, what does it actually sound like down there? Of course, we can't ask a perch for its opinion, but based on those hydrophone recordings and our understanding of fish biology, we can make a very good guess. It's not a clear, crisp stomp, stomp, stomp like you hear it. Down below, it's a deep, resonant, and often terrifying thump, thump, thump that echoes through the water. It's a sound that a fish feels in its entire body as much as it hears it. Now, you have to think like a prey animal. For millions of years, what does a rhythmic, heavy thump from above mean? It means a large predator. A bear, a moose, a pack of wolves. It means danger is walking directly overhead. The fish's natural, hardwired instinct isn't curiosity. It's to either freeze completely still and hope it's not detected, or to bolt for the nearest cover. Neither of those is good for you, the angler. All right, so what about snow? Everybody says a good layer of snow quiets things down, and they are partially right, but not in the way that truly matters. A deep, fluffy blanket of snow is an excellent dampener for high-frequency sounds. It absorbs that annoying crunch, crunch, crunch of your boots on bare ice. This is definitely a good thing, as it removes one layer of unnatural noise. However, that snow cover does almost nothing to stop the main problem, the low-frequency thumps. The snow might cushion the sound for your ears, but your body weight is still being transferred directly through the snow, into the ice, and across that giant drumhead. You are still sending that deep, booming thump downwards. The snow just muffles the part you can hear, giving you a false sense of security while you're still spooking everything in that 65-foot radius. Now, let's consider how the thickness of the ice itself changes the equation. This is where it gets really interesting. You would think that thicker ice would be quieter, right? More insulation. But in reality, the opposite can be true. Very thin, early ice, the unsafe kind, is actually the quietest because it's flexible and doesn't transmit those low-frequency vibrations as well. But as the ice gets thicker, say over a foot or 2 feet thick, it becomes more rigid and dense. This makes it an incredibly efficient conductor of sound and vibration. A thick, solid sheet of ice will carry the thump of your footsteps much farther and with more intensity than a thinner sheet. So, on that beautiful, safe midwinter ice, you are actually making more of a ruckus down below than you were during first ice. It's a classic paradox. The safer you are, the louder you are to the fish. Let's put this into a real-world scenario. Your initial approach to your fishing spot is the most critical moment of the day, and it's where most people blow it. You park your truck, unload your sled with a bang, and start marching out to your favorite spot, a quarter-mile out. For that entire walk, you are a moving broadcast of danger. You are basically pushing a wave of fear in front of you. Every fish on your path, and 65 feet to either side of it, is spooked long before you even arrive. They've either hunkered down or moved out of the area completely. By the time you get to your honey hole, you may have effectively cleared it out. You've alerted every single fish that a predator is in the area, and then you wonder why the first 20 minutes are always so slow? It's because the fish are hiding from you. Then comes the necessary evil, the auger. There is simply no getting around it. A gas or electric auger is the single loudest thing you will do all day. It's not just the engine noise we hear, it's the intense grinding vibration that it sends through the ice. This is the equivalent of a bomb going off in the fish's world. It is a massive, terrifying event. Every fish in an even wider radius is now absolutely certain that something violent and dangerous is happening. This is the moment of maximum panic for them. Any fish that wasn't already spooked by your approach is now either glued to the bottom or has fled the scene entirely. This is why the common advice to wait a while after drilling is so important. You have to give the fish time to calm down and forget that this guy just tried to attack them. But the noise doesn't stop after the drilling. Now comes the second wave of disturbance, setting up your gear. You kick some slush away from the hole. You set down your hard-sided tackle box with a thud. You unfold your shanty, and the poles clank together. You drop the metal scoop on the ice. Each one of these actions, which seem minor to us, is another sharp report, another vibration sent through the ice. After the initial earthquake of the auger, these smaller, sharper sounds confirm to the fish that the danger is still there. It's still moving around. It's like having a burglar break down your door and then hearing him rummaging through your kitchen. You're not going to come out of hiding. You're going to stay put until you're absolutely sure the threat is gone, and that can take a lot longer than you think. So, after hearing all this, you might be thinking, is tiptoeing around completely pointless then? And the answer is, mostly yes. The idea that walking softly on your toes is going to prevent fish from hearing you is, frankly, a myth. Your 200 pounds of body weight is your 200 pounds of body weight. The low-frequency thump is caused by the transfer of that mass, not the sound of your boot treads. However, this doesn't mean you should just start doing jumping jacks on the ice. The type and timing of the noise matter. While you can't eliminate the thump of walking, you can eliminate the unnecessary, sharp, high-frequency noises. Don't drop your pliers. Don't slam your gear down. Control the noises you can, because it's the combination of all these sounds that keeps fish on edge for an extended period. This leads us to a fascinating idea I call the constant noise theory. Think about a fish that lives near a busy road or under a bridge. At first, the noise of traffic is terrifying, but over time the fish become conditioned to it. It becomes part of the background noise of their environment. The same can be true on a busy lake on a Saturday. There's a constant low-level rumble of ATVs, augers, and people walking around. In this environment, an individual angler's footsteps mean less. The fish are already on a certain level of alert, and your noise just blends in. But on a quiet Tuesday morning, when you are the only person on the lake for a square mile, your every move is magnified. You are the only thing breaking the natural silence, and that makes you a much bigger perceived threat. This is why sometimes the busiest lakes can be easier to fish than the remote, quiet ones. Let's do a quick case study. We all know that guy. The one who shows up late, stomps out to his spot, drills 10 holes like he's attacking the ice, and then proceeds to pull fish out one after another while everyone else is getting skunked. It drives you crazy. You've been sitting there, being quiet as a mouse for 2 hours, and this guy is having all the luck. Why? It's not luck. He has unintentionally stumbled upon a brilliant strategy. He creates a massive amount of commotion all at once. He drills all his holes, gets set up, and then he sits down and doesn't move. He has spooked every fish, yes, but he did it all at the beginning. Then he goes completely silent. After 20 or 30 minutes, curious or hungry fish start to venture back into the area, thinking the danger has passed. His lure is the first thing they see. We've mentioned the lateral line, but let's talk more about what it is. It's a series of sensory organs that run down the side of a fish, from its gills to its tail. It allows them to detect movement, vibration, and pressure gradients in the water. It's like a combination of hearing and touch. When you step on the ice, you are creating a pressure wave in the water below. The fish's lateral line picks this up instantly. It's how they feel their prey, even in total darkness. It's also how they feel you. This system is far more sensitive to low-frequency vibrations than their actual ears are. So, even if the sound isn't loud in the traditional sense, the pressure wave you create is a massive signal on their radar. You are literally changing the physical environment around them with every step you take. Does this affect fish in deep water as much as shallow water? The answer is a definitive no, and this is a key strategic point. The effect of sound and vibration diminishes with distance. A perch or a bluegill in 6 feet of water, directly under the ice, is going to experience the full force of your noisy approach. It's going to be terrifying for them. But a lake trout or a walleye suspended in 50 feet of water is much more insulated from the surface commotion. They will still detect it, but it will be far less intense and immediate. This is a major reason why deep water fishing can often be more productive, especially if there's a lot of activity on the ice. If you're targeting shallow water panfish, your stealth, or lack thereof, is 100 times more important than if you're chasing lakers in the basin. Okay, enough theory. Let's get into some practical tips you can actually use. Here's tip number 1, the sacrificial hole method. Instead of walking directly to your prime spot, stop about 20 or 30 feet short of it. Drill your first hole there. This is your sacrificial hole. Make all the noise you want here. Let the auger run, kick the slush around, get everything ready. This acts as a decoy. The fish in your target area will be spooked by this nearby commotion, but the epicenter is away from them. Then, once you're all set, you can quietly and carefully move over to your real spot, drill one more hole as quietly as possible, and get your line in the water. You've concentrated the majority of the terrifying noise away from where you actually intend to fish. Practical tip number 2 is what I call the camp and wait method. This is for the patient angler. It's what our loud, successful friend was doing by accident. Get to your spot and do everything you need to do for the day right away. Drill all the holes you plan to fish, even if it's 10 or 12 of them. Move your shanty, set up your heater, arrange your rods, make your coffee. Create a huge amount of noise and commotion for the first 15 to 20 minutes. Get it all out of your system. Then sit down and do not move. Become part of the landscape. The initial disruption will scare everything away, but the extended period of silence that follows is a massive all-clear signal. The fish will eventually get curious and return, and you'll be waiting for them. This requires patience, but it can be incredibly effective. Practical tip number 3 is simple, but often overlooked, especially when fishing with friends. Spread out. When 2 or 3 people are clustered together in a small area, the amount of vibration and noise is multiplied. You're creating a constant cacophony of footsteps, dropped gear, and chatter. By putting 50 or 60 feet between each angler, you give the fish under you a break. You create islands of silence. This allows the fish in one person's zone to calm down while someone else is moving around. It also prevents one person's clumsy mistake, like dropping a heavy tackle box, from ruining the spot for everyone. Give each other and the fish some personal space. It will dramatically increase the number of bites for the entire group over the course of the day. Ultimately, this all comes down to rethinking your entire setup and approach before you even leave the truck. It's about a change in mindset. Stop thinking about being quiet and start thinking about noise management. Your goal is no longer to be a ninja, because that's impossible. Your new goal is to control when and where you make your noise. Think about your path to the spot. Think about doing all your loud work at once. Think about the calming effect of an extended period of silence. It might mean you don't get a bite for the first 30 minutes, and you have to be okay with that. This isn't just a tip, it's a fundamental shift in strategy that separates the consistently successful ice anglers from the ones who just get lucky once in a while. The noise is a tool. It's time you learned how to use it. So, what have we learned? That the ice is a giant speaker. That your footsteps are low-frequency drum beats that scream danger to fish 60 feet away or more. And that being quiet in the way we traditionally think is almost impossible. The biggest takeaway, the real what-if moment, isn't that you're making noise. It's that you might be making the wrong kind of noise at the wrong time. The paradox is that sometimes making a lot of noise at the beginning and then going completely silent is far more effective than trying to be stealthy the entire time. This changes everything. It means your entire strategy, from the moment you step out of your truck, needs to be re-evaluated. It's not just about what lure you use, it's about how you approach the spot, when you drill, and how long you wait before you even expect a bite. Thank you for sticking with me through this deep dive. I hope it gives you something to think about on your next trip out on the hard water. If this blew your mind a little, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that challenges the old ways of fishing. And now, for the big question. After hearing all this, are you going to change how you walk on the ice? Or do you think this is all theory and the fish just don't care? Let me know your honest opinion in the comments. I read every single one.